Hello, and welcome to my What the F podcast. I'm Tina, your IVF mindset and fertility coach and mum of a miracle boy after 4 years of IVF treatment. If you're in the IVF trenches or going through the loneliness, soul-destroying and tears of infertility, then you're in the right place. You are not alone in this. I'm here to help you be kinder to yourself, even in the toughest moments when you feel so frustrated and overwhelmed and feel like giving up. Together, we will help you to find happiness and peace during one of the toughest chapters of your life. And if there is just one thing that you take away from this podcast and work on, then my heart is already full. Hey, beautiful souls, and welcome back to What the F, from Infertility Exhaustion to Peace. I'm Tina, and today I'm going to be talking about something that feels like a huge weight on your shoulders, a burden that you feel like you're carrying around like a heavy handbag and that you can't get rid of no matter how much you want to. Today's topic is the unspoken pain of infertility, and more specifically, breaking free from the cultural expectations that can make this journey even harder, even more painful and triggering. Now, if you're part of the South Asian community, which I am, I'm Indian, or if you're from a culture where family and what people think and say is everything, like so many of the women here in Asia, so I live in Singapore, motherhood in these communities is often seen as a woman's ultimate purpose. Having kids is seen as something that a woman should be able to do. Infertility in these communities can often feel shameful, isolating, lonely, and you might even feel like you're somehow failing because the world around you has these expectations that are forced upon you that you're supposed to live with and live up to every single day. And it's bloody hard, I get it. And it's exhausting, like it's completely exhausting on top of everything else that you're dealing with. But the honest truth is that you are not defined by the expectations that other people place on you or needing external validation of any kind. You are not alone in feeling like this. And today I want to share some tools that I used to help you release the weight of those unfair generational expectations to help you move through your fertility journey with more peace, kindness, and calm. Now, first, I want to talk about the big elephant in the room, and that's the pressure that we all feel, especially when we come from cultures where fertility is often seen as a measure of a woman's worth, and God forbid, even pointing the finger at the man, because that never happens. Now, I know it's not about pointing fingers because my own fertility journey started because of male infertility, which is something definitely not talked about in the Asian culture, South Asian societies, especially here in places like Singapore. In many communities, especially in South Asian cultures, there's this unspoken and underlying expectation that a woman's role in life is to become a mum, and that supersedes everything else. It's also seen as something that is non-negotiable, and when that doesn't happen, it's not only emotionally difficult, but also socially and culturally isolating. Infertility becomes this thing that we don't talk about, we shy away from, we hide from, because we feel shame and judgment around us. And it can make you feel and us feel like we're broken or less than, unworthy, not woman enough, or undeserving, and so much more. Like all these different cultural layers and expectations goes deep. It really runs deep. Now, I like talking about research and bringing in science. That's the geek in me, but it really validates what I'm talking about here, and the additional layer of cultural pressures that add extra pressure, extra stress to an already shitty time. And so research shows that in cultures where family dynamics are prioritized, so that's, in the Asian communities, in the South Asian communities, and in communities such as Singapore, Hong Kong, Asia, where I live, Southeast Asia, Women experiencing infertility face higher levels of stress and mental health issues, including depression and anxiety. And a study published in Human Reproduction, now this goes back to 2014, found that women undergoing fertility treatments, especially in cultures with high expectations around motherhood, face increased rates of depression and anxiety compared to women in other settings. Which, let's face it, isn't surprising at all. Like when I read that, my mind wasn't blown away because I expected that to be the case. And I'll be honest with you, I've been there being a woman who's Indian, who was going through fertility treatment in her late 30s and eventually gave birth at 42. So I really, really get it. I understand that sickness that you feel deep in your stomach type of feeling when you feel like you're failing. And when everyone around you is asking questions like, when are you going to have kids? Or you've been married a while now and you're getting older. Your third sister and the one who's younger than you is having a baby. When is it your turn? Or they're offering unsolicited, like really old school, old wives' tale advice around drinking this concoction or eating that. Only makes you feel worse and can trigger the F out of you. In my own journey, the pressures from cultural norms almost crushed me at times. But I guess for me, it was a little bit easier because I could escape some of it because I don't live near my family that are all based in the UK and I live in Singapore. But when I couldn't get pregnant, I really did feel the sting of judgment. And at the start of my journey, I was scared to talk about the fact that I was really struggling. And it was in that silence that I started to feel more and more isolated, which is why I started to talk about it more and be more open with it, with our struggles, with our fertility journey, with the older generation, so that they too can start to learn and understand what it means to have fertility struggles or go through IVF treatment for years and years. Because, in that generation, they've never heard about anyone struggling or going through fertility treatment. It was just something that wasn't talked about at all. And even now, even with my own mum, I know she has nothing but love for me and support. But even some of her comments were really the sign of that generation where the gap in EQ, emotional intelligence, is pretty high. And where they just say insensitive comments without thinking about it, but not realizing how much impact they are having on the person that they are saying it to. So that generation, her generation, really didn't understand or know how to truly express what they want to say. So it all comes out a little bit wrong. And some of the things that she would say would be along the lines of, why don't you stop this treatment now, Bidda? You're getting too old. And how much more are you going to put your body through? Or the classic one, this one would be on repeat, like all the time I spoke to her. Make sure your doctor isn't fleecing you of cash or tricking you. Because honestly, that was one of her main concerns. She thought I was being ripped off. I mean, I know it all came from a good place. And really, she was just worried about me, the finances that we were spending, my body, and everything that I was going through, because she could see what I was going through. And it was really, her way of communicating how she felt. And that's how she was taught to communicate about her emotions. So, I didn't blame her at all. It's just a generational gap, generational trauma that she's been through. She also, this is another classic one, but she also used to remind me a lot of the times about the fact that when she was my age, she'd had 4 children. So she started having kids at 19. And she'd say to me, well, I had my first baby at 19. And back then I didn't even know what sex was. There was no such thing as sex education. And this one would really crack me up because clearly she did know what it was all about because she ended up having 4 girls. And on the other hand, my dad, as most dads from India, Africa, that generation, they just stay quiet. So a man of not so many words. But I know that he often also felt it and he was, really sad or really upset that we had to go through this. But he just kept quiet most of the time and gave my mum evil looks if she said anything completely ridiculous, which was most of the time. You know what I mean, right? That classic dad evil eyes. And he used to just listen and like nod away, and in the way that he knew how to help, he would offer cash and say, whenever I needed it for this test or that, he can help out if we needed him to. I guess in the end, you just become quite selective about the amount of detail and information that you share. So I did share stuff with them, but I didn't go into loads and loads of details as I would my sister. So I tell my sisters a lot of what was happening and the next stages and the timings, but not so much with my parents, because it's not about the comments that they were making. Because I, after doing my own NLP training and coaching, I knew that everything they were saying came from a good place. There was no intentional malice behind it. And so also I didn't want to worry them. Like, I didn't want them to feel even more helpless than they already did feel, because as Asian parents, we're always taught, and they were taught to always be the ones to take care of their families. And they take those duties really, really seriously. So when you're going through challenges such as fertility, and there's things that no one around you can do, like, it makes them feel really, helpless and useless as parents. And that was how they were feeling. And through it all, the shit and the blessings, I eventually realized that I didn't need to carry the weight of other people's expectations or their own generational trauma. I didn't need to suffer in silence, and neither do you. The journey to healing and peace starts by breaking the silence and acknowledging that your experience is valid and real, no matter what the world around you thinks. So why does silence hurt? Why does it hurt so much? When infertility is never talked about in our families or communities, what happens is we tend to internalize a lot of the shame, the guilt, the self-criticism, and the judgment. And that in doing that, we start to believe that we're somehow less than because we can't fulfill these huge cultural expectations that are put upon us. And it makes the journey even harder, even heavier, and even more heartbreaking. And what we need to do is we need to understand that our worth is not tied to our ability to have children. That is cultural construct that has been passed down for generations and generations, and that now needs to be broken down, as it doesn't help anybody. You are not defined by this one aspect of your life. You are enough exactly as you are, and you are incredible exactly as you are. The other thing I want to mention is, when we see other fertility specialists or coaches that don't have an understanding of this cultural pressure that we have, it's quite easy for them to talk about, creating boundaries, which I really do believe in. So I'm not knocking creating boundaries. I really think there's a place for them. But it's really hard to create these boundaries with your family. Like, you can't just, you know what I mean? You can't just not turn up to a huge family engagement or party that your family's put on to celebrate someone. Like, you can't just not show up, because it's just not done in this, isn't it? It's not done in the Indian culture. It's not done in the South Asian community or Asian cultures. Like, you can't just not show up because you've always been taught to be there, right? And that in itself puts pressure on you. So it's not as easy as saying, oh, I'm just going to say no to all these events and protect my own boundaries and protect my own energy. Like, if that was an ideal world, it would be amazing. Then you could do that. But, we ourselves put on these pressures on ourselves to make sure that we're seen to be supportive and part of the family and supporting each other, because, when we need it the most, the family is there for you, and they are the ones that are going to help you through the worst days. But I guess when it comes to something as taboo as fertility, it's a little bit harder because it's not so openly talked about. And so, we find ourselves torn between family engagements and expectations and creating those safe and healthy boundaries for ourselves. So it's all about creating, having that sort of balance that makes you feel comfortable. It's a very personal thing. I say you can't, one size doesn't fit all. It's not a cookie cutter approach. Like, whatever feels comfortable for you, like, how much you can push your boundaries with your family and with your parents and everyone else around you. I'm now going to talk about how you can release some of those cultural expectations that are put on you with something as simple as breath work. So I want you to pause for a moment and let's take a deep breath together. The huge weight of societal expectations can feel heavy, and sometimes you just need to release that pressure before you explode. So let's try a breathing exercise together that will help you let go of the weight of these expectations and create some space for peace and self-kindness. To do this breathing exercise, you need to be in a quiet, comfortable spot where you are sitting down or lying down. So if you are listening to this as you're doing your daily walk or driving, then maybe now's not the right time, but maybe when you get home and you find a quiet, comfortable spot where you can sit or lie down and not be disturbed. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs completely, and then let go. Okay, so now we're going to inhale for 4 counts. Okay, so inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath for 4 counts and then exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 counts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As you exhale, imagine that you're releasing all that pressure from cultural expectations, what your aunt, uncles, cousins, families, want you to do or expect you to do, ask of you, and that weight of shame and guilt that you've been carrying around with you for so long. Give the shame, the guilt, that pressure, judgment, a color. Give it a color. Visualize it. And with each exhale, I want you to let go of any beliefs that no longer serve you. And I want you to visualize the color that you've given guilt, shame, and judgment. Visualize that leaving your body every time you exhale. Release the idea with every exhale that you need to be a mother to be worthy. The idea that you are too old to even try, or the idea that you're constantly being compared to your sisters, cousins, friends, and extended family. Release all of these with every exhale. Then I want you to repeat this for 3 or 4 breaths, feeling the same release and lightness with each exhale. So you're inhaling for 4 counts. You're holding on 4 counts. And then you're exhaling for 6 counts. And every time you exhale, you're letting go of that shame, of that expectation, of that pressure, of that comparison to everyone else around you. And you can do this whenever you like, whenever you feel like it's all getting too much on top of you and you just need to get away from it. You can do it every day if that works for you, or you can find moments of time, pockets of time, where you can do this in your own space, in the own sacred space that you create for yourself in your home without being disturbed. And it sounds really simple, like the simple breathwork practice, but it really can help you release some of that emotional, cultural baggage that you're carrying around with you, and that feeling like you're not good enough, or that shame that you feel having to go through fertility treatment. The breathwork also helps you reset. This breathwork practice also helps you release the emotional, cultural baggage of feeling like you're not enough. It also helps you reset and brings you back to a place of self-acceptance, self-love, and self-kindness. And that is so important when you're on this journey. You sometimes seem to forget yourself, forget all about your own needs and what it is that you need to nurture your own mental and emotional well-being. I also want to talk you through another coaching tool that I use, which is super powerful for feeling empowered, but also for healing. And it's so good for releasing those generational and cultural pressures, and that's visualization. So visualization helps you shift your emotional state. And so when you do this, you start to begin to create new possibilities for yourself. It's a really short visualization exercise. I'm not going to spend hours and hours on it, so that you can do it in your own time. And this one is designed for you to help you to let go of those cultural expectations that are forced upon you and embrace the freedom to write your own story, to pave your own path and break free from that comparison trap. It's also about taking control of your own journey and your own path, and not always looking back to see what everyone else is doing and what other people are doing and what other people are saying. So we're going to start again by closing your eyes and taking in a few deep breaths in and out, and allowing your body to completely relax. I want you to soften your forehead, shoulders, facial muscles, and relax any tightness that you might be feeling in any part of your body. Soften every muscle in your body. I want you to picture yourself standing in a beautiful open space. This could be a calm, stunning beach at sunrise when there's no one around, a peaceful forest, a quiet, cozy little garden, or wherever you feel most at ease. In front of you, you see a large wooden box. In this box, imagine putting all the cultural expectations and beliefs that you've been carrying around with you for so long. These might be things like, you must be a mum to be valued, or infertility is something to be ashamed of, or it's always a woman's body that's letting her down. My body is letting me down. Whatever beliefs that you've been carrying around with you for so long that you want to start to let go of. Put them all in the box in front of you. And when you've done that, I want you to see yourself closing the box and walking away. Close it tight, walk away. You're leaving it behind. It's no longer for you to carry. It's no longer your burden. You are letting go. You are dropping that weight finally. And as you walk away, I want you to feel the weight literally lifted off your shoulders. You are free, and you are whole. Stand tall, feel in control, feel empowered, feel strong, and at peace. You are worthy, and you are enough just as you are. You can do this visualization exercise as often as you like, whenever you start to feel that heavy burden on your shoulders again, and you want to start releasing some of those burdens, some of those cultural expectations that you seem to be carrying around, and reclaim your worth and reclaim your power. You have the right to define your journey and your worth. And you are in charge to walk your path the way you want to walk it, not in a way that is dictated or suggested by others. You have the ability and are allowed to listen to your own instincts and your own intuition, and no one can stop you. It's so important to remember that your fertility journey is yours. And if you come from a culture or community where infertility is not openly talked about, I want to encourage you to find your voice and speak about it. Share your struggles, your fears, and your desires for your own healing. And, I don't expect you to announce it to every member of your family and like the world, but find a couple of cousins, a couple of close family friends that you can talk to. Or find a group of women in a safe circle for you to open up to, because the more we talk about it, the less power the silence has over us. You deserve to be heard, you deserve to be seen, and you are not broken. What your aunts, uncles, family, sisters, cousins think of you is not important. What you think of you is important. That is the most important thing. And so I want you to start feeding your mind with loving, kind, and supportive words. The same words that you would use on a close family friend or cousin who is going through the exact same journey as you. Don't let generational beliefs or societal expectations define you. You are enough exactly as you are, and it's time to release the shame, the silence, and the weight of those cultural pressures that you might be feeling every single day. I want you to remember this. You are worthy of love, you are worthy of respect, and you are worthy of peace, no matter where on your fertility journey you are. Breaking free from cultural expectations is a powerful step in healing and taking control of your mental and emotional well-being. And just because your journey doesn't look like what others expect, it doesn't mean it's any less valuable. If today's episode resonated with you, stuck with you, moved something in your heart, deep in your heart, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And as always, if you need support, I'm here for you. Let's walk through this together. You are not alone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode brought you some peace, perspective, and a reminder that you're not alone on this journey. If you found today's conversation helpful, I'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps others to find the safe space, and I'm so grateful for that. And if you're ready to take the next step in your fertility journey, get in touch with me. I'm here to help, guide, and support you through this process. So whether you need help shifting your mindset or just someone to listen, I'm with you every step of the way. I want you to remember that your fertility journey is uniquely yours, and that is enough. Take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, be gentle, and trust that you are incredible. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for, and every step you take is a step forward towards your healing and towards your growth. Sending you love, strength, and all the support you need. Until next time.